What if Spider-Man was in Star Wars? Let's explore the depths of this scenario in the video. Spider-Man swings across the night sky, feeling his phone beeping in his pocket. As he approaches the seedier parts of the city, the beeping grows stronger. He knows what the report is by heart now. A mysterious cloaked individual attacking the gangs here. While that's normally something the police deal with, this time is different. None of the reports were able to identify the individual, as no one who saw them lived to tell the tale. This finally prompts Peter into investigating on his own. Unfortunately, this time proves to be no different, as by the time Spider-Man arrives, all he finds are a handful of dead gangsters. They perished the same way the others did in previous encounters, with sword wounds across their chests. But this is no ordinary sword. The weapon was probably heated, as the wounds cauterized almost immediately, leaving no blood trails. Spider-Man suspects it is alien technology, left over from Vulture's gang. As he examines the dead bodies, laughter rings out from the alley, and a pair of shimmering crimson lights appears at the other side. Spider-Man jumps back and prepares himself to fight. From the shadows, Darth Maul appears and smiles.
So, you're that mysterious hero I've heard so much about. You are more difficult to find than I first thought.
Yeah, people here are not too familiar with me.
Good. Then no one will take revenge after I kill you.
Maul lunges forward, his lightsaber spinning into a blur of red. But Spider-Man leaps up at the last second and latches onto a wall. He fires a web at Maul's arm and pulls him off balance. Before he falls, the Sith Lord whirls around and slashes the web apart before hurling his lightsaber at him. It spins in the air, forcing Spider-Man to jump down and fire a series of webs, hitting Maul in his chest and limbs, trying to keep him in place. Maul dodges these attacks and catches his lightsaber, slashing others apart. Changing tactics, Spider-Man pulls a dumpster and sends it rolling towards Maul, who slashes it apart and uses its halves to shield himself from the next barrage. While he's holding up the dumpster, a manhole cover arcs past his makeshift shield and hits the neighboring square in the chest. As he staggers back, Spider-Man shoots another web at his legs, wrapping them together and yanking Maul off balance. His lightsaber drops from his hand, and before he can grab it, the hero pulls it to his hand.
Listen, Mr. Devil Dude, I don't want to fight, so why don't we just end it here?
You talk far too much for a hero.
Yeah, I've been told.
It leaves you vulnerable to being surprised.
He suddenly uses the Force to weaken Spider-Man's grip on the wall and sends him crashing to the ground. Maul frees himself and walks up to the fallen hero, picking him up and slamming him against the wall.
You have skill and spirit, young one. Not many can put up that much of a fight against me.
So, does that mean you're letting me go?
That depends on whether I'm satisfied with your answers to my questions. First, are you responsible for the disturbance I felt in the Force?
The what?
Maul holds his lightsaber up against his throat and growls. He stands over Spider-Man, allowing his demonic face to be painted in the crimson light of his weapon.
Do not play dumb with me, boy.
I'm not playing, honest. I have no idea what you're saying.
Although he growls, Maul senses the truth in his words and lowers his weapon a tiny bit.
Several weeks ago, I sensed a disturbance in the Force on your planet, as if the fabric of reality was altered and rewritten. Clumsily. I've come here to investigate.
This time he senses a twinge of understanding in Spider-Man. A few weeks was around the time he asked Dr. Strange to cast his spell that would cause everyone to forget about him. It was one of the hardest decisions he had to make, but it was necessary to save the multiverse.
No, I didn't cast that spell, but I am the one responsible.
Maul keeps a tight grip on him as he tries to feel Spider-Man's presence in the Force. He's still connected to it, but that connection is fading. He almost appears invisible at first. Suddenly, Maul deactivates his lightsaber and loosens his grip on Spider-Man.
It seems you do not fully grasp the depths of this opportunity you have been given.
Spider-Man's anger flashes as he begins to struggle.
Opportunity? Losing everyone I cared about? Having to lose all my friends and relationships is an opportunity. To have everyone I care about forget me?
Yes, your loved ones, your enemies, and those indifferent towards you. A clean slate. Even the Force barely understands you. Such circumstances are unprecedented. Yet you do not take full advantage of it.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Do you think this is a responsibility? Hiding in the shadows like some animal? Hunting down petty criminals? Do you think you are making a difference this way?
The Avengers made a difference when they stopped Thanos.
Yes, yes. The deeds of the Avengers are known even in my galaxy. How many Avengers fell in that war? And yet, in the end, it changed nothing. Crime remains rampant as ever, as do villains and monsters. The truth is this: they can never stop suffering or crime. But I can control its ebb and flow. Tell me, which is true power?
So why should I join you?
To his surprise, something in Maul's voice changes. Its edge seems to vanish, as he almost sounds compassionate.
Because I know what it is like to be cast out and forgotten. I was able to claw my way back to becoming something the galaxy knows to fear. You can choose to remain hidden, or you can remake yourself into something better.
Tempting offer, but I'm gonna stick to my brand of heroism. Thanks, but no thanks.
Very well. Until we meet again, Spider-Man. But do not think you're going to capture me tonight.
He suddenly throws him aside and leaps onto a roof, disappearing into the night. For the next few days, Spider-Man spends his time trying to forget about Maul's offer. He knows that he made the right move and tries to remind himself of it by focusing on being a hero. There is plenty of action to keep him distracted, as countless gangs and criminals are causing trouble. Spider-Man swings from rooftop to rooftop, dealing with street-level crimes, stopping muggings, robberies, and gang fights. None of this is a challenge, but they ring hollow in his heart. And as he captures a gang leader, Maul's words echo in his mind. After each victory, he remembers all the sacrifices he made to get here. Iron Man, Black Widow, and Captain America. None of that is even mentioning the things he's given up to get here. His body becomes more mechanical, lacking his vigor as he swings through the city. He perches on a gargoyle and watches the city below. All of those deaths, and yet it seems like nothing changed. Still dealing with criminals, and now a new generation of bad guys who are taking advantage of the chaos. Meanwhile, he's still the same friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. No, now he's even less than that. Just a shadow on a rooftop, whom no one knows about. No one but the Sith Lord. He climbs off the gargoyle and begins to swing away. Rather than head home, though, he heads towards the spot where he met Maul. The Sith Lord is there waiting for him, the bodies of several gangsters at his feet.
You appear to have had a difficult day, so I thought I would help by disposing of this scum for you.
Oh, you can help me. But you're gonna do much more than that. You're gonna help me with this city's crime problem.
Maul smiles and offers his hand, which Spider-Man takes without hesitation. They decide their first move is to target the most dangerous gang, the remnants of Vulture's organization. Now under the leadership of the Tinkerer, he begins rebuilding Vulture's empire with the remaining alien weapons. Stopping him would stop the flow of alien tech weapons on the street. He already has their location and leads them to a warehouse. The two leap down from the roof, Spider-Man shooting webs to disarm and capture the guards, as Maul leaps down into the center of the room and ignites his lightsaber as a dozen thugs point alien weapons at him. Alien weapons and grenades fire at Maul, who moves like a hurricane, twisting and spinning to block their attacks. Though explosions go off around him while blaster fire fills the warehouse, he remains unharmed while the guards begin to fall from the blaster fire he directs back at them. After a few more seconds, many of the guards run out of ammo, allowing Maul to leap to their position and begin cutting them down. Spider-Man swings through the chaos, dodging blasts and countering with web shots that immobilize the attackers. Maul charges forward, his lightsaber's a blur of red, deflecting projectiles and slicing through defenses. They make their way inside the warehouse, facing more heavily armored thugs, but Maul is a creature from a nightmare and deals with them with brutal efficiency. Those who don't fall before him deal with Spider-Man, who uses his agility, flipping and spinning through the air, yanking them off their feet and slamming them into walls. They pass through the large cache of alien weapons, all boxed and ready to ship out. These will be perfect for Maul's plans, and he walks past them just as the Tinkerer appears, flanked by heavily armored guards. He fires his heavy blaster, forcing Maul to evade his attacks. Spider-Man swings out the line of fire, shooting webs at the Tinkerer. Maul closes in, his lightsaber slashing through the Tinkerer's guards and leaving them dead on the floor, before holding his lightsabers against his throat. The Tinkerer and his remaining guards surrender, but Maul makes them an offer. Continue working on these weapons, but under Maul's leadership. The gang members waste no time pledging their support to Maul, who makes Spider-Man his top enforcer. With the remnants of Vulture's gang, Maul begins expanding his hold on the criminal underworld. He discreetly begins redirecting men from the Crimson Dawn to shore up his control. With these reinforcements, he begins targeting rival gangs and criminal groups, especially those who bought weapons from the Tinkerer, as they posed the greatest threat. However, even with these weapons, Maul's blitzkrieg is unstoppable. With his power and Spider-Man's abilities, most gangs and criminals are subdued with barely a fight. Like with the Vulture's gang, Maul offers most of these groups a choice: join him or die, only exterminating those who resist. The move is brilliant, as within a matter of weeks, all the criminals in New York down to the lowliest pickpocket pledge loyalty to Maul. As part of his promise, Maul does regulate crime. He makes sure that the worst criminals are not able to cause trouble to the civilian population, or at least make things as painless as possible. Protection rackets lower their rates. Pickpockets only target the wealthy, and robbers only target big businesses. He allows Spider-Man to patrol the streets and make sure all the criminals follow the rules. Those who don't are punished, allowing Maul to tighten his grip on the city. With crime disappearing overnight, many in the city begin to rest easy. Spider-Man takes this as vindication of his mission. He sees the good his partnership with Maul is causing and continues to work with him, hoping to expand their reach across the country next. However, not everyone is pleased with the situation. Former crime bosses whom Maul pushed out are furious at his takeover and try to challenge him. With Maul's control over the underworld, they realize that fighting is not the answer. Instead, they head towards the press, sending stories of a shadowy criminal mastermind who's taken control of the underworld and is planning something big. Most news outlets pay little attention to them, but one who does decide to take a closer look. Under James Jameson, the outlet begins publishing these same stories the criminals peddle, creating a grand conspiracy of shadowy overlords, even suggesting that the same superheroes who are fighting crime are the ones controlling this empire. He demands that the overlord show himself, instead of hiding like a coward. Maul sees these stories, and while they don't seem well received, realizes this is an attempt to undermine him by rivals and cannot let it stand. Instead, he orders Spider-Man to storm the Daily Bugle.
The press is just trying to get a reaction out of you. We don't need to go after them.
You think this is merely a reaction? Who do you think gave them these stories? This is a threat to our control. If we do nothing, it encourages defiance. Inaction is a sign of weakness. We must show strength, or our enemies will grow bolder. If this Jameson wishes to see the face of the criminal underworld, I shall grant his wish.
All right, but let's try to avoid hurting anyone.
Later that night, the Daily Bugle newsroom is mostly empty, with only a few reporters and night staff working. Spider-Man and Darth Maul slip through the shadows. Maul's presence is intimidating, a dark force that seems to suck the light from the room. Spider-Man, masked and silent, follows reluctantly. They enter the building, avoiding security cameras and alarms. Maul uses the Force to unlock the doors and clear their path. They move swiftly, their goal clear: J. Jonah Jameson's office. Jameson sits at his desk, poring over the latest drafts as the door bursts open.
Jameson,
What is this? Who are you?
I am the shadow you have been writing about, and you will cease your slanderous stories.
Well, at least you're not a coward. But if you think you could just come in here and threaten me, then you've got another thing coming. This is America. We have freedom of the press.
Mr. Jameson, please, just stop publishing these stories. They're only making things worse.
Spider-Man, I knew it. You're in on this too. You're part of this empire.
You will stop these stories, or I will ensure you can never write again.
Maul raises his hand and begins choking Jameson with the Force.
Do your worst. I won't back down. I understand that you're afraid of the truth.
Whoa, Maul, I thought we weren't gonna hurt anyone.
Maul's grip tightens, but Jameson's defiance only strengthens. The Dark Lord senses that this man will not be broken so easily.
Don't worry. He shall not hurt for long. Your courage is commendable. It is rare to meet someone with such conviction. But unfortunately, men like you have no place in my empire.
With a flick of his hand, Maul hurls Jameson out the window. Spider-Man screams and runs out, preparing to jump after him. To their surprise, Jameson is safely on the ground, looking up in shock as a moment later, a figure flies up to face them and enters the shattered window. Doctor Strange wipes dirt from his cloak and looks around.
Ah, you must be that crime lord I've been hearing so much about. I was starting to think you weren't real. The sorcerer. This does not concern you.
Maul, this isn't a fight you want to get into.
He's right. It isn't.
Snarling, Maul ignites his lightsaber. In response, Strange conjures a spell, sending bolts of mystic energy towards Maul. The Sith Lord deflects them with his lightsaber, then charges forward. Spider-Man watches, torn between helping Maul and stopping him. Doctor Strange dodges a lightsaber strike. His hand weaves intricate patterns, summoning a glowing sword to block his attack. Maul continues to press against him until the weapon shatters, forcing Strange to summon a glowing shield to block his attack. Still, it's enough to shove Strange back and allow Maul to begin hurling debris at the sorcerer. The desk shoves Strange aside and nearly throws him out a window, but his cloak catches him and sets him right. He then sends his cloak flying forward and wrapping around Maul's fist, pulling him back against a wall as Strange summons mystic chains to wrap around his sword hand. Spider-Man finally decides to attack, firing at the cloak, pinning it in place, and allowing Maul to free himself. He raises his fist and punches Doctor Strange just as he lunges at him. This sends him flying back, allowing Spider-Man to fire more webs at his legs and keep him in place. While Strange is immobilized, Maul pulls up his lightsaber and then prepares to stab him. Before he can finish, the sorcerer summons a portal underneath his feet and causes him to fall through the floor and teleport back outside. However, several gangsters appear and begin firing at him. Strange summons his magic to deflect the first shots and take out a few of the gangsters, but more keep coming.
Focus on our mission, Spider-Man.
As Maul leaps down to face Doctor Strange, the Avenger summons a powerful spell, binding Maul in chains of pure energy. Just as it seems he has the upper hand, Spider-Man fires at him and disrupts the spell, freeing Maul, who grabs Strange by the throat and slams him onto the ground. He begins to strangle the Avenger, but Strange's cloak flies out of the room and knocks Maul aside, pulling Strange away from the battle. He opens a portal and vanishes through. Maul turns to his troops and raises his lightsaber in the air.
Behold how we managed to defeat even one of the Avengers.
The rest of his troops cheer as Spider-Man joins him. While his troops cheer, Maul glowers at his apprentice.
We will deal with the sorcerer another time.
The next day, the Daily Bugle's story becomes front-page news. Jameson, though shaken, refuses to back down, his resolve stronger than ever. He talks about how he barely survives thanks to Doctor Strange, and how Maul personally threatened him because he's scared. Maul decides their next move is to take over New York entirely, and that means removing the biggest threat to dominance, the New York Sanctum of Mystic Masters. Throwing subtlety aside, they opt for all-out war. Gathering the Crimson Dawn and their criminal allies, the Sith Lords lead them out with Spider-Man by his side. They gather on the streets, foot soldiers armed with alien weapons, along with a handful of armored vehicles and even a few starfighters. After a cold breath, they all begin to fire at the Sanctum. But as their combined alien technology hits the building, it bounces aside as a protective shield holds them back. From the entrance, the sorcerers rush out and engage the criminals up close. The sortie is small, but each master summons different spells and attacks that throw Maul's troop off guard. Trees and plants come to life, the wind throws them off their feet, fire appears out of nowhere, or water sweeps them aside. Here and there, portals open up and drop troops into the distance, or they are cut down with magical weapons. At their head is the Sorcerer Supreme, Wong, who channels spells at superhuman speed, preventing anyone from getting close. However, they aren't just facing normal criminals, as their alien weapons are just as deadly. Climbing gloves allow them to scale walls and get the jump on unsuspecting sorcerers, while alien blasters can shatter individuals' shields, and heavy weapons can occasionally penetrate the defenses. In the sky, starfighters strafe the ground and ensure the Crimson Dawn has air superiority. Maul himself is a monster on the battlefield, cutting down any foe foolish enough to get in his way. Spider-Man is almost as dangerous, swinging from wall to wall, firing webs to disarm and capture any sorcerer who tries to stop him. He does try to avoid killing them, though, justifying himself by saying they could ransom them back. However, as this attack dwindles, Wong retreats inside, and the Crimson Dawn settles in for a siege. Even if they can bring reinforcements, Maul's weapons will eventually break through, and they won't be able to halt his troops' advance once they get inside. Maul also decides to strengthen his position by bringing in more Crimson Dawn soldiers. This doesn't go completely unnoticed, as back in their galaxy, Obi-Wan notices the flurry of activity happening in Maul's criminal empire. He hears about how dozens of his ships are disappearing from the face of the galaxy. Sensing a disturbance in the Force, Obi-Wan boards one of these starships as he heads to Earth. There, Obi-Wan sees the siege of the New York Sanctum. All around the building, hundreds of destroyed cars litter the ground, while the streets are filled with craters and cracks from the battle. He arrives right as Wong orders another attack. Although their magic initially takes the attackers off guard, under Maul's brutal leadership, the criminals are ready and counterattack. During the battle, more and more sorcerers fall as Maul leads a countercharge. He leaps over a burning bus and slashes his lightsaber at Wong, who barely brings up his shield to defend himself. He summons a magical dusk on his other hand and slams it against the Sith Lord, driving him back. The two come at each other, filling the streets with sparks as their powers clash. Maul channels the dark side to his aid, creating a dark shadow that grows stronger with each clash, while Wong desperately tries to defend. He summons a glowing rope and wraps it around Maul's legs, but the Night Brother slices it in half and rams into him, sending the smaller man crashing to the ground. He swings at him again, but Wong summons a protective shield. Just then, Spider-Man leaps out from another car and shoots a web at the sorcerer's arms. Maul prepares to finish him off, but suddenly, Obi-Wan leaps out and deflects his lightsaber and redirects it towards the sidewalk. Thrusting his hand out, Obi-Wan shoves Maul back, but his metallic legs keep him from falling over. He looks up and glares at his foe and charges again. From the side, Spider-Man rejoins the fight and shoots webs at the Jedi. Obi-Wan blocks each one and uses the Force to shove him towards Maul. The two slam into a car, giving him a chance to free Wong. They retreat into the Sanctum, which reactivates its shields just as Maul tries to enter. Inside, Doctor Strange and the other sorcerers are tending to the wounded. He's surprised to see Obi-Wan, but Wong assures him that he's trustworthy.
So I take it you're from the same place our red-skinned friend is from.
We are acquaintances, yes. I'm here to stop him.
Good. We'll need all the help we can get. He's been besieging this sanctum for almost a week now. This place is sacred and filled with powerful artifacts. You can't imagine the chaos he could sow if he gets his hands on them.
Oh, I believe I can. Very well. You can count on my help.
Meanwhile, Maul is furious at his setback. Not only did he fail to take the Sanctum or defeat Wong, but they failed to capture Obi-Wan too. With that shield standing, they won't be able to use their superior number and weapons. But while he tries to plan a new strategy with his lieutenants, a figure approaches Maul's camp. The guards try to stop him, but the new arrival simply flicks his wrist and sends them flying. He wears the robes of the sorcerers, but his expression is malevolent.
Greetings, Master Maul. I am here to offer you my assistance. They call me Mordo. And what assistance could you possibly offer me? I can provide you with a way into the Sanctum Sanctorum. There is a hidden entrance, known to only a few. With my abilities, I can activate it and guide you inside.
How do we know we can trust you?
Because our goals align, young hero. The sorcerers are a threat to both of us. There are too many magic users in this world, and I think it's time for the unworthy to be culled. Well said. Tomorrow my troops will create a distraction while you lead me inside.
In the distance, an explosion rocks the night, sending plumes of smoke and fire into the sky. The sorcerers within the Sanctum Sanctorum react immediately, sending members to investigate the destruction. Mordo leads Maul, Spider-Man, and a few soldiers to a hidden alleyway before stopping at the center. He chants a spell, causing a doorway to materialize in the brick wall. He leads the way into the hidden passage, followed by Spider-Man and the soldiers. The passage is narrow and winding, lit only by the glow of Mordo's sorcerer light. The group emerges from the grand chamber with ancient relics and arcane symbols. The hairs on Spider-Man's neck stand on end. Maul's eyes gleam with excitement as they both sense the power. The few guards inside are quickly cut down by Maul and Mordo, who lead the way. Mordo points towards a large, ornate door at the chamber's far end.
This is only a taste of the power the Order hoards for itself. Beyond that door lies the heart of the Sanctum, the source of their power. Secure the area. Mordo, show us the source of their power.
The rest of Maul's troops depart, eager to finish off the remaining sorcerers, while Mordo leads them down the hall. The door swings open, revealing the inner sanctum, a vast room filled with mystical artifacts and shimmering energy. The air crackles with power, and Maul's eyes glow with anticipation. Spider-Man readies himself for what comes next. Inside, Doctor Strange and Wong are waiting for them. The two immediately prepare to throw spells at them, while the intruders advance.
Ready for round two? It's nice to see you, Mordo. I didn't think I'd have the pleasure of killing you today.
As he advances on him, Obi-Wan drops in front of them, swinging his lightsaber at Maul's head. The Night Brother blocks the attack and shoves him back just as Strange throws a fireball at Mordo, who vaults over and swings his staff at him. This leaves Wong to face Spider-Man, who launches himself up and fires webs at him. The chamber erupts into chaos as the two groups clash. Lightsabers hum and sparks fly as Obi-Wan and Maul engage in a fierce duel. Maul regains the initiative and throws attack after attack at Obi-Wan, who fights more conservatively. Doctor Strange and Mordo exchange spells and counterspells, with Strange levitating off the ground and following after his opponent, who vaults and launches himself, trying to get in close. Spider-Man faces Wong, their movements a blur as they trade blows. Wong lashes out with a magical lasso, trying to pin him in place, but Spider-Man is too quick and fires a web at his hands, forcing him to drop the weapon.
Look, I don't want to hurt you.
Wong counters with a mystical shield, using his free hand, trying to cut through the webbing.
Then why are you serving someone like Maul?
The battle intensifies, with each combatant pushing their limits. Spider-Man continues to avoid attacks, swinging across the room until a portal opens in front of him and sends him right to the top of the room. He begins to fall, but catches himself and redirects his body to slam into Wong.
Because I have to. Now please, stay down.
Excellent work. Now, kill him.
Spider-Man's eyes widen as he stares at Wong slumped on the ground. The man groans and tries to get up as Spider-Man keeps him pinned. It would be so easy to finish him off, but he looks so helpless. And Spider-Man feels his hands begin to shake.
I can't.
You will do as I command.
He leaps up and dodges a low swing by Obi-Wan and counters, trying to shove the Master back. The two cross their lightsabers again, but Obi-Wan twists to the side and pins Maul's weapon against the table. He notices the hesitation in Spider-Man.
I don't sense the darkness in you, boy. Whatever Maul has said, he's misled you.
No, he's promised to help me. Maul is my master.
A master who doesn't care for his apprentice is no master worth serving.
Wong seizes the moment of Spider-Man's hesitation to break free from the webs. He disappears under the floor as he activates a portal. He appears behind Spider-Man and prepares to deliver the next blow, but feels Obi-Wan slamming into him. Maul leaps down and shoves Spider-Man behind the cover.
Perhaps you need some incentive.
Maul activates the holodisc on his belt and projects an image of a school engulfed in flames for his distraction. The hologram zooms in to show Spider-Man's friends, including MJ and Ned, bound and surrounded by Maul's soldiers.
These are your friends, correct?
Spider-Man's face darkens as he lunges forward and tries to punch him. Maul catches his fist in midair and then laughs.
Don't worry, I don't intend to kill them. But if you finish off our enemies, I shall use the Force to restore their memories.
Spider-Man looks at Maul in shock, his body shaking, but Maul suddenly leaps off. While they are talking, Wong and Doctor Strange both surround Mordo, who tries desperately to defend himself. That is until Doctor Strange casts magical shackles that cause him to drop into the ground. At that moment, Maul slams into the two of them and throws them to the ground. This leaves Spider-Man to face Obi-Wan alone. The Jedi Master approaches Spider-Man slowly, who responds by swinging some debris at him. It starts off slowly, but he quickens the pace and forces the Jedi to begin defending himself. That is until the web-slinger grabs an entire bookshelf and hurls it at him.
You are making a mistake, young one. I am not your enemy.
No, you aren't. But Maul wants you gone, and he's the only one who can restore who I am.
He leaps over Obi-Wan's lunge and tries to kick him, though Obi-Wan sidesteps his attack.
The only person who can restore your identity is you. Through your actions, those will determine how people remember you.
You don't understand. No one knows who I am anymore. Maul is the only one who can fix that.
He fires a web at Obi-Wan's leg, yanking them together. While the Jedi tries to cut it, Spider-Man lunges at him and sends the two toppling. Even as he struggles under Spider-Man's grip, the Jedi remains calm.
If what he says is true, people will not remember who you are. But what you are doing now, is that what you wish?
Spider-Man freezes midway through his next attack as he considers what Obi-Wan says. He thinks of his actions over the last few days. He thinks of raiding the Daily Bugle, attacking the Sacred Sanctum, and now what he's about to do. Spider-Man stumbles and backs away from Obi-Wan, giving him the chance to breathe. The Jedi Master sees his words weighing on the young hero and reaches his hand out.
There is still time to make things right, young one.
The room is in disarray, with magical artifacts scattered and ancient tomes lying open, while Doctor Strange and Wong stand against Darth Maul. Their mystical shields barely hold against the Sith Lord's relentless attacks. Maul's double-bladed lightsaber spins with deadly precision, forcing the sorcerers to stay on the defensive. Doctor Strange conjures spells to summon more chains to try and contain Maul, but Maul breaks through each attempt. Wong parries each attack, but his moves grow desperate as his power is overwhelming. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Spider-Man rejoin the fight. Charging at Maul, their combined assault catching the Sith Lord off guard. Spider-Man swings overhead and flows over before starting to shoot at his legs, holding him in place as he parries Obi-Wan's lightsaber strikes. The two of them crash their blades and start to push back against him. His power and strength are still superior, but Maul has to be careful to avoid Spider-Man's webs as he attacks from the side. Obi-Wan sidesteps each attack and begins to push Maul back. The Sith Lord lashes out with the Force, sending debris flying towards them. Spider-Man dodges and uses his webs to redirect the debris back at Maul while Obi-Wan slices through this debris. Doctor Strange and Wong catch their breath and rejoin the fight. Strange conjures blinding spells while Wong supports with defensive enchantments. Maul finds the chains wrapping around his body, leaving his attacks desperate as he struggles to fend off the combined might. Obi-Wan and Spider-Man press their advantage, driving Maul towards the large window overlooking the city. Maul, realizing he's being overpowered, channels all his rage and strength into one final assault. His lightsaber clashes violently with Obi-Wan's, while Spider-Man maneuvers to flank him. With a powerful web shot, Spider-Man entangles Maul's lightsaber, yanking it out of his grip. Obi-Wan takes the opportunity to forcefully push Maul towards the window. The Sith Lord stumbles, crashing through the glass and teetering on the edge. As Maul begins to fall, Spider-Man's instincts kick in. He shoots a web line, catching Maul by the arm and pulling him back to safety. Maul dangles precariously, a look of disbelief on his face. Doctor Strange steps forward, his hands glowing with magical energy. With a swift motion, he conjures a containment spell, enveloping Maul in a shimmering, unbreakable sphere. Wong reinforces the spell, ensuring Maul is securely captured. Spider-Man releases the web line, allowing Maul to float within the magical prison. He turns to Obi-Wan, his expression a mix of relief and determination. Obi-Wan places a reassuring hand on his shoulder, nodding approvingly. Without Maul, the criminals begin to slink off as they see no more point in fighting and hurry to hide. Obi-Wan looks on to the young hero and smiles.
Well done, my boy. He says he can restore my friend's memory. Can you do that?
I'm afraid such power poses great risk. Even if I could, it risks shattering their minds.
Spider-Man stares at Maul, who the sorcerers escort away. He realizes how close he was to making a huge mistake. He glances back one final time, and then promises to undo the damage he's done. Leaping out the window, Spider-Man swings off to begin dismantling the criminal empire he's built. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.